lunacy, the madness that's brought on by the full moon. And we're working with 3 full moons technically here. We've got the answers you need are coming, full moon in Gemini, and conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. And it's also the full moon in Libra right now. I'm at the tail end of that when I'm recording this. Um, and the vibe is eerie right now, is actually the word that I would use. Because I got the random urge to bring out the Necronomicon deck for the full moon reading. You know, it felt like dark and spooky and, a little cosmic horror. Um, but when I prep for readings, I kind of like to set the mood, with what I've decided to take out with the cards and whatnot. And there's an ambient channel that has a Cthulhu, like 1 hour ambient music. So I put that on, and when I open the space to start getting ready for a reading, that's when everything starts becoming relevant to the reading. And my cat just burst out of the room, like barreled out when that music came on, like as if I had summoned her, as if like something was up. Everything was fine. It was just a change in the ambiance, but it was very like jarring. Um and I actually had to take a bit of a break and come back to it. And she did the same thing. She came right back out when the music started. So it just seems like that heavy presence, like elder god size like presence, in maybe something coming to the surface. Kind of the theme with the Libra full moon. Information coming out to balance the scales. So we'll see. We'll start getting some cards. And it kind of got me thinking about chaos magic a little bit. And there are some schools of thought and some people out there that will use fictional characters like Cthulhu as spirit guides. And I don't see an issue with that. I mean, why couldn't they be a representation of archetypes, of major themes? Like that cosmic horror I was talking about, that kind of pulls in the awe aspect of things, because sometimes people can have a little bit of a tough time getting to that place in a non-secular way. And I think finding a way to access that feeling is a good thing. Like, whichever way you get there. You can also find that in nature, too. Chaos. Yeah, here we go. Chaos magic. What is this? 20? So judgment. So judgment card. Something that will bring chaos to order. I mean, a bit literal, but maybe need a little more context. Because with chaos magic, that like thought forms, and there's even such a thing as entity creation, all that. You have all that collective thought being applied to a character or an archetype, to, even though it'll mean something slightly different to everybody who interprets that character, that figure, however you want to put it, it still has all the, it's almost like directional energy going towards it, towards that idea, towards that thought form. So it's got sort of a collective, it can take on a mind of its own. that such cool cards here. The artwork just seems like an abyss. Little teeth, black hole. And chaos energy is creative energy. So whatever might be coming out, information, because it says the answers you need are coming, so I assume it's information. Maybe you've been at a stalemate and you're waiting for the other side to make their move, something like that. But when that comes out, some sort of established order, the way things were going, will change in a dramatic way. And we've got the Knight of Torches, or the Knight of Wands, in reverse. So Knight of Wands in reverse, that can be like a Casanova. I think Knight of Cups in reverse can kind of go that way too, but like somebody who's more interested in carnal pursuits, not establishing connection, romantic connections, things like that, but just the pursuits of the flesh. Which is all fine and dandy, as long as everybody's on the same page. And that seems to be where things break down, is people are telling others what they want to hear to get what they want. And it's not necessarily just to like get laid, but it can even go further into like creating a perception of self, kind of getting that from the Gemini, the two-faced, as the clock chimes. But it'd be like a lavender marriage that the other person didn't know they were in. Something like that. Which is not fair to them. They deserve to know. Oh, that came right out. Change. Is this actually the wheel? I think so. 10. I mean, it is a wheel. But the Fool. He's reading a book. There's no little doggy. That's significant change, though. Because this, I assume, would be the, like the wheel of the ship when the sailors rammed into Cthulhu's head while he was still sleeping, and he wasn't quite awake yet. And that was another aspect of this, too, the timing of it. Because he partially awoke with that encounter with the sailors, but doesn't fully awake until the time is actually truly right. I don't know if that actually happened in Lovecraft's stories, because he's mentioned so briefly, and was born of a dream. But the Fool's really interesting. Totally absorbed. Oh, and very reminisce. The chaos with the tentacles and the black sun. Huh. I really like the major arcana in this deck because it's all different. That's what it's taken me a second on those majors to like, what number is what? Tell me more about what is this change that, like, this read all about it change, because it feels big. That's just the vibe in the air. It's very big. discovery, Mercury in Sag, and speculation, Jupiter in Cancer. A shocking discovery, like it's not gonna be fathomable, believable. And I mean, imagine being a sailor way back when, because what, that was it early 1900s? 1910, 1920s-ish, around when Call of Cthulhu was written. Who would you talk to about this giant monster that you just ran your ship into? Like, who would believe you? But now, we've got things like smartphones and cameras and stuff, like... Maybe it's something so outlandish that if there wasn't evidence, no one would believe it. It would think it a work of fiction. The murmurings of a madman. I'm just going to take the bottom one. Intuition. Oh, interesting. Kind of combines the first two cards because it's Mercury in Cancer. We had Mercury in Sag and Jupiter in Cancer. So a convergence of rumor and fact, and maybe that, like, the reconciliation is what's going to be difficult, like bringing those two things together. So what's this about? What is this shocking cosmic horror revelation? Because cosmic horror, the whole point of that is to make you feel insignificant. That is another good way I could describe my own experience in the void during the near-death experience, which has been coming up a lot lately. So maybe that theme of just rocking the foundation of what you once believe is just carrying through as that candle flickers. The energy is gaining momentum. Waxing moon, which is the opposite way that we're going right now, because the full moon has already started to wane. Like, it's a moon phases app, and right now it would be on like 99% fullness. So what energy is gaining momentum? What is this all about? Because all I'm really getting from this first position is that it's coming in soon and it's going to be shocking. And Cthulhu, actually I don't know if Cthulhu even has a gender. I was saying he, but generally regarded, interpreted as evil, but really is amoral and outside of like human comprehension. Is one of the consequences of seeing Cthulhu is madness or death. Just too much for our little human minds to comprehend. And that is very much how I felt after my experience in the void, was just how unraveled I became. And there was already stuff going on, you know, that led to a near-death experience. You know, something was happening. But the way it shattered my psyche, and it took me years, 2 years, to sew myself back together and interpret what I had seen. And you kind of carry that like a secret, because it's like there's not a great space in our Western society to navigate both a medical crisis and a spiritual one. And the spiritual one usually gets pushed to the side to just deal with the medical one. And it's a both and. That was pretty rough, having to go through that by myself. So hopefully, as whatever is coming out, there will be better support systems in place. But it's gaining momentum. That is many. I'll take the bottom one. 2 of books. 2 of swords. The choice has been made. What choice? What is this choice? Because that would be the stalemate. But these aren't crossed like it would normally be. 2 papers with wax seals. This has to be from Call of Cthulhu as well, like the manuscripts and stuff. The evidence as the building creaks. It's been pretty windy. But maybe that imagery in reverse, it's like opening the seals. Oh, with that, it's sticking out. 7 of beakers, 7 of cups, illusions revealed. This was in reverse. But it's like as if they were poured out and the contents were spilled out. The illusion is being cleared. Is somebody sitting on evidence of something? I have mixed feelings about that. Because there's numerous reasons why you might need to, even though it could result in additional harm. Because if it's being, I'm making an assumption here, if it's something that's been hidden, it's something harmful. You know, because even in my example of like the lavender marriage, oh, and I guess I did pick 2 purple candles, huh? But the lavender marriage example, there obviously is no issue with somebody's sexual orientation. The problem is that they're lying to somebody else, and that person actually isn't even consenting to be in that relationship because it's on a false pretense. It's the deception that's the issue, not who somebody chooses to love. 3 of torches and Queen of Pentacles. So a journey. A journey to prosperity. Somebody marrying for money? I mean, that would certainly be shocking to anybody involved. But some of these cards, they're missing their eyes. And I can't help but notice that. It's like somebody was led down the garden path. All this like zombie foliage. But somebody was led down the garden path. And somebody has evidence of that? Maybe? Because the Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles, she is a master of her domain. Like usually the master card would be the master card. Very funny. But it would be the King of Pentacles, you know, the culmination of the suit. But I don't know, I'm not quite getting that vibe here. It's like both can achieve mastery. They're just doing it in a different way. Maybe one's more overt, more covert, more domineering, more nurturing. I don't know. It'd be like, for any of my other fellow ancient Egyptian history nerds out there, it'd be like the difference between Hatshepsut and Akhenaten, King Tut's father. Very domineering, very creating the world he wants to see through force, whereas Hatshepsut was increasing her power by way of like economic prowess, like trade deals and things like that. It wasn't through military might. Rebellion, a different way of doing things. Mars and Aquarius. A journey to rebellion? Or is this correcting an illusion of the past? That like the Queen of Pentacles wasn't being, I don't know, whatever bad things are typically lobbed at women, like she's bossy, she's this, she's that, she's the other. But it's no, she was being oppressed by the king. And so she was rebelling for a reason. Not just a rebel without a cause. But she made a choice to flip those cups over, drop the illusion. There's something significant about her eyes being blacked out too. It's like she didn't know how the rebellion would proceed. That journey, 3 of Torches. Practicality. Moon in Capricorn. That's my moon sign. Practical approach to... I mean, this is like a little village here. Oxen. Tilling of fields. There's a lotus. One looks like a queen there. Practical approach to a rebellion. Power. Moon in Scorpio. And another woman. This is like a shift towards matriarchy. And I don't know, I guess I'm of the thinking that would we truly benefit from doing what politics have done and create a two-party system? Like, why don't we just abandon the gendered system altogether? Do something different. Like the Nine Muses. I think I've brought that up before. Some sort of system like that. Like more of the horizontal leadership structure. But this is what's coming to the forefront? So then what's next as this comes forward? What can we expect as this gains momentum? Hold your vision. Fixed moon. Eye on the prize? Let's get these out of the way. Hold your vision. So maybe some resistance, which, I mean, that's going to happen anytime challenging any established order, things like that. It's like that perception manipulation. The history book is always written by the victor, and there's the, like all the things they've been seeing on social media and from the mainstream media and things like that, of like who's getting redefined as a domestic terrorist. That the way that the definition of that word is being used against like peaceful protesters and things like that, people exercising their First Amendment rights, it's diluting the meaning of the word in such a way that it doesn't even mean the same thing anymore. So hold your vision. Is that something that was going on here? Like this was so outlandish and so far-fetched, it would never be believed until the illusion broke, till the evidence was there. That's going to be a tough process to bring those things to light. Just kind of, it's bringing back those, like, who was it? Snowden? Edward Snowden? What was he? NSA? Things about their software they were using, stuff like that, I think is what that was. 3 of Beakers. Celebration. For who? This feels premature. Because hold your vision kind of, that indicates something is still coming. Like, we're not there yet, but celebration, that's a finality. It's almost like somebody celebrated too early. Like thinking, like leaning into that assumption that yes, this is so far-fetched that no one will believe it, and then celebrated. Something changed though. What? What's changed? And beakers. I mean, it's not exactly potions, but it's kind of giving me that, like, mind control sort of vibe. Which, I mean, alcohol can do that, for sure. Any sort of vice can get the best of you. That's too many. But it can alter perception. Substances altering perception. And altering perception in mass because people are drinking in bars and clubs and whatnot. Combine that with like the right mass hysteria, you can stir some things up. The madness, like Cthulhu. Desire. What is this? Lust. Strength. And aliens. Lovers. In reverse. Strength and lovers in reverse. So Leo and Gemini. More Gemini. I mean, they look like demons. And the Three of Beakers. It's kind of pulling me into more of that, like, the lavender marriage idea. Is there something going on in that way? I don't know, like, did they get something from their previous spouse that, like, that isn't theirs, but they got access to it because they were married, like money? But then they got caught because their pursuits of the flesh got better than of them. And drinking, you're not going to be as careful. And this is like one person. I can't remember what story this is from, but I think they're two siblings and something goes terribly wrong with some sort of experiment or something. They get turned into this one creature. But it's almost like not wanting to be seen for your true form. Two realities crashing together. So it's like there's somebody, whomever has this Two of Books over here, this evidence, they're trying to hold the vision while there's all this chaos going on around. Very juxtaposed energies. So what about these desires, this two halves of a whole? Excitement, but it's in reverse. Mercury in Gemini. very biblical. Looks that way. Somebody's not excited about, well, and there's the, like, old-timey megaphone. Looks like a bullhorn, something. But they are not thrilled about this getting out, which, I mean, you're entitled to your privacy, you know. The tricking somebody into a relationship on false pretenses, well, that, it's like, what's her bucket? The former DHS secretary. The whole thing with her husband that just came out. I don't like a lot of the discourse I'm seeing around that, because it's layered. Because what you're into is what you're into, right? At the same time, though, her ask for privacy is pretty rich, considering what she's done to other families. You know, it's kind of like that. Like, the audacity to ask for that, but also, and the kink shaming, not cool. Like, there's two sides of that. It's so easy to fall into the other side's tactics and start taking low blows at them when they do something wrong. That's not the way to accountability, you know? Oh, and we got the lust card. I will take all four, actually. So, lust, Venus in Aries, devotion. The last three are all in reverse. Saturn in Libra for devotion. Jupiter in Capricorn for control. And Moon in Cancer for friendship. We're gonna do this. There we go. That'll work. Out of control. They weren't devoted. Maybe losing some friends over this when the social circle realizes what's really going on. And really, it just seems like it's kind of coming down to the way it was handled. It's not that them fundamentally is bad, it's what they did. But that's not, it's gonna feel earth-shattering for sure. It's not quite rising to the level of cosmic horror for me, though. It'll make you feel pretty insignificant getting betrayed to that level. I feel something like more macro. Like there's something else to this that goes beyond like just this is drama within the friend group. What is that? What's the bigger thing? What's the Oz behind the curtain? 'Cause, I mean, full moon, Libra. That's something pretty big in regards to relationships getting revealed. So who or what is Oz behind the curtain? anything? Something like that. Be bold and make the first move. Cardinal moon. Work through your fears. New moon in Scorpio. Some honesty being called for. I'm kind of getting the sense that this wouldn't be as newsworthy if it wasn't found out. As with all things, you know. I've always been that person in a relationship that, like, if I find out you've done something, it's gonna go much worse. Like, just be straight with me, you know? Just let me know what's going on if something happened. Because if I find out about something in an uncontrolled manner, like, I'm entitled to my feelings, you know? And then, even if I hear the true explanation from them, well, now I'm going to be questioning, like, why'd you hide it? Like, what is going on? Like, we've made this so much worse by just not, you know, having a confrontation like adult. Confrontation's not fun, but it has to be done. If you really want to build a life with someone or someones, you know, depending on the nature of your relationship, it's going to require communication. And especially if you're dealing with something like coming out later in life, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to break up immediately. You might need a second to explore a little bit. And maybe your partner doesn't have an issue with that. You'll never know if you don't talk to them. Because I think when people think of coming out later in life, it goes to the black and white thinking of they're going from straight to gay. Like, that's the only option. Like, no, they might be bi, they might be pan, anywhere in between. Who knows? But that's a lot of stuff to work through. Oh, goodness gracious. That was a whole bundle. I'll take the bottom one, though. 10 of torches. Ooh, yeah. The never-ending burden. Because it came out in reverse. Somebody didn't make the first move. It's too bad. I feel like in this day and age, there's a lot more opportunity to be accepted if you give people the chance to accept you. You know, and you gotta be bold and take that first move, face those fears. Hi, Pumpkin. Good morning. But if you face those fears, you never know. And even if you end up having to dissolve your relationship with that person, if you handle it in a healthy way, in a collaborative way, you might be coming out the other end with a best friend. You know, something like that. Like, of course you don't want to set those expectations. They're going to have their own emotional needs, you know. But you might be co-parenting together, you know. That is a really important relationship to keep healthy. Even if the romantic relationship didn't survive, the co-parenting relationship, being there for the kid and being healthy and people getting along and working through their stuff, that's going to be a constant force in your life. Because I think there's a lot more emotional intelligence and maturity around what's really required to dissolve a relationship in a healthy way for the kid or kids. Not just, you get them on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll get them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, then we'll rotate the other days. Like, flip coin, whatever. And then the kid can end up feeling like an object. Like, I definitely was just something to deal with. Like, let the other parent deal with you. Like, there's a lot of stuff said to me like that when I was a kid. It's like your own parent just framing you as a problem. I'm like, well, a problem that you brought into the world, so deal with it. You brought me here without my consent. Science. For science. What's that? 10, 5, 17? 17. It's not the star, is it? I have to check. Oh, too far. Yes, that is the star. But in reverse. So a very unscientific approach. Because that, I mean, science, you have the scientific method. It's a established, SOP, standard operating procedure. Because who wouldn't know to inform your spouse that, oh, hey, actually, I'm playing for both teams when I told you it was only one, or I'm playing for the other team, like, whichever way. Just like when people are doing this, now, especially, that's gonna demand some explanation. Like, it's not the 80s anymore. Times have changed, thankfully, grown, evolved. And that's not to say there aren't situations where it isn't safe to come out. But you can still talk to your spouse. Like, I've known people in the past where they can't be out at work. High Priestess. But they can't be out at work. And it's just they work for really conservative people, or they had, like, conservative clients or things like that. And that's one thing. That's just having work boundaries. Your spouse is different. Seeing the unseen, seeing the hidden. It's an interesting combination. The High Priestess and the Star in reverse. The High Priestess, I think, is whoever has this Two of Books. They have the evidence of something. I'm not sure what their involvement is in this. Maybe they know the couple, or they're a friend of whomever is not being told that they're not in the relationship they think they're in. And so they're the ones, like, stepping in and going, hey, like, sorry, I've got some receipts for you. Something like that. Because that would just be drama to be like, oh, I suspect you're partner is like stepping out on you in this manner, like there's got to be some sort of, and maybe that's what makes it so outlandish, that like maybe they ran into them somewhere. But they're gonna be, the whomever's in the couple might be in so much denial, they're not gonna believe it. That's a very unhealing energy. The star in reverse. The conundrum of the High Priestess, though, the seeing through the darkness, seeing the truth through the darkness, it's not always a pretty journey. Flirtation in reverse, and detachment. Venus in Sag and Venus in Aquarius, 2 Venus cards. And Libra is ruled by Venus, which also just moved into its home sign in Taurus. I don't quite get that. So not flirting and detached. Maybe that's just a representation of the couple? That they're just like, you can kind of tell. They're going through the motions. Kind of can't stand each other. Yeah. Romance. And drama. Yeah. Yep. Venus in Taurus. There we go. And Mercury in Leo. There's a lot of yelling. So the love is gone. Is that Stevie Ray Vaughan? Maybe. That's gotta be like a blues song. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan, B.B. King, something like that. This does sound like a very dramatic situation, but the detachment might be that, like, when you're looking at somebody from the outside in, even if you don't have all the details, you can kind of, like, read the static on their face, you know, when they're going through something, kind of zoning out, maybe doing the 1,000-yard stare or something like that. Or, like, heavier tension when there's, I don't know, something minor happens. Taking little pot shots at each other. So even though maybe in the grand scheme of things it isn't necessarily cosmic horror, within this orbit, within this circle, within their families, what have you, maybe it does feel that big. Because that would be a lot of conflicting emotions. And I think least of all, hopefully, this is not true for everybody, but least of all, about the sexual orientation itself. It's more about the deceit, the lengths to which someone would go to maintain the illusion, and anytime there's unfaithfulness involved, are they using protection? You know? Because especially if this is somebody that, say, is coming out as not just going right the full-on other direction, my goodness, could there be another kid involved? Something like that? As the candle goes? Oh, man, that sounds really complicated. But something coming to light that might feel like the end of the world. But tomorrow is a new day. One day at a time. Message in a bottle. The police. Oh, what is it? SOS? If you're dealing with something this heavy, you might need somebody to talk to. And there is no shame in that. Support groups, therapy, spiritual, counselors, talk to a priest, whatever your paradigm is. And I would say, if possible, not leaning on just one. When you're going through anything complex, it's best to have, I think, multiple outlets, because then you're not waiting all week to get to an appointment or something, and then you're trying to like scramble and get everything in, because it might be that private space might be the only space you have to really like talk about these things. So then it's going to come out like word vomit. Support groups are helpful. You might be able to find some that meet multiple nights a week. And if you are going to turn to the internet, don't name drop. It's complicated things to work out, and not everybody on the internet means well. There are some people that do. But just leave out anything that could identify anybody, yourself, because that could come back to bite you. Because what if somebody finds your, like, am I the a-hole on Reddit, and they identify the situation through the details that were mentioned? It's still important to have a place to vent. Just be mindful when emotions are running high, how that impacts your behavior. But overall, I keep not hoping that these things resonate. Like, I do hope it helps, but I'm wanting to find a better message for people, but the message comes through as they come through. So take care of yourself, take it easy on yourself, and hopefully we'll have something a little more positive soon. We'll see you next time.